In this video, I will visit the link between pain, challenges in life, overcoming, and the part spiritual strength plays, how the physical can impact the mental. On a short transit ride this past week, I came to a realization of an injury I suffered a couple of years ago and the situation I was in. I was sitting in my bed in emergency, denying any pain meds. I didn't sleep much for the next 7 days, except I asked to be put under when I had the surgery, as at that point I hadn't slept in 3 nights. I've mentioned many times pain is a state of mind. I don't think I was in physical pain, except for the fact I wasn't sleeping. I was in denial because deep inside I realized the pain was emotional, spiritual, mental. I knew I was going to end up with another permanent injury. It wouldn't fully heal, and was one that meant a change of careers, abilities, and other adjustments. I heard in a great song by a lyrical genius at one point, when you lack spiritual strength, the physical impacts the mental. I had a good friend tell me, when you experience going without young, you either become bitter or driven. To get to the point where you manage from a young age to defy medical experts and are able to attain the understanding of pain is like any obstacle, it gives you a challenge. A challenge can give you reason, fire, energy. If focused on positivity, pain becomes a state of mind. Emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual pain and obstacles don't have to destroy you. They don't have to limit you or your future. The challenge of overcoming can fuel you. Having challenges you know you'll face, the earlier in life you were challenged, the better off you can be. Because you learn skills some never do. You learn to adapt and you always find a way. You don't give yourself the option not to. Now, self-control, impulse control isn't easy for many. There is a spiritual side. In life, even when you haven't made the best choices, you can learn from them. Lacking spiritual strength allows the physical to impact the mental. Whether it's an injury or, say, addiction or an illness, choices, positivity will play a role. Many walk around trapped by life's choices, decisions, and circumstances of their past. Life isn't easy. It can be easier. I've noticed some who struggle with addiction to cigarettes and alcohol. When they already are carrying their past with them, it's as if it's a burden. The physical impacts the mental. The actual variation of alcohol doesn't matter. They sip or drink it as if it's what they regularly consume. I've seen a beer drinker drink spirits and wine as if they were having beers. Some who smoke, it's not only the chemicals and poison that has them addicted. So the patch, nicotine gum, e-cigarettes don't give the individual the desired effect. This is because the physical impacts the mental. I've seen some say they get no benefit from vaping. Others, they're not chasing a necessary physical relation to whatever feeling or escape and high they're trying to reach. They have that spiritual wisdom and knowledge. The physical doesn't impact the mental, and all impulses become easier to control. With many I've met who struggle in this way, they usually haven't decided to be grateful for what they do have and learn from their past. They haven't let their struggles strengthen them. The pain hasn't become medicine. They are also usually full of blame, vengeance, and they fail to understand their roles and their responsibilities in everything in their past. Until you learn, you won't elevate. This keeps them from finding acceptance, and that prevents them from finding happiness. Until you find happiness, inner peace will remain foreign. When I look at my path, early on I scarred myself. It also benefited me. This was 2 years before being that pedestrian in a motor vehicle accident. I was determined to never let anyone go through what I did. That was the only addiction I've truly had limit me. It also built me. sacrificing for greater causes, putting myself out of the equation just to find a way. I'm far from perfect, and I've made mistakes. In life, I brought a lot of this up in this video series. If you don't give yourself the choice, you find a way. I brought up living a more fortunate life than finances afforded me as a child. I also realized I watched my mom do the impossible every day. That's where my one core quality was based. I know I wouldn't be half the man if my mom hadn't raised me. A couple of months before I turned 11, on my daily paper route in apartment stairwells I was delivering to, the news and business sections were priorities for me to read. I'd sit and take half hour, 45 minutes and consume information. I barely graduated high school. My intelligence, my way with numbers wasn't questioned. My parents knew I should be getting higher marks. A psychologist, a couple math and science teachers had all told them that. So I'm admitting, school isn't where my mind wasn't where or what was teaching me what I needed to know. I felt like an outcast. I marched to my own drum. I've never cared much for the latest fads or what everyone else is doing. Gradually, as I've been on this spiritual journey, once I found the positives in the worst of times I've been through, I was allowed to be brought individuals and situations that allowed me to benefit even more from the traumas and things I didn't realize I still had trapping me, to learn from and finish releasing them. Spiritually, it's been freeing and unbelievable. Throughout my philosophy, I talk about learning. In the past 20 years, I have read maybe 5 or 6 books. 4 were autobiographies. Knowledge is what information gives you. Knowledge is known to be king. If you turn knowledge into application, you get wisdom. Positivity, self-acceptance are key. So are honesty, patience, and understanding. Once you accept your role in a situation in your past, you see what it saved you from. That can be the so-called silver lining, no matter how bad it was. You free yourself from whatever from that incident is trapping you. You break the shackles. You get rid of the restraints. You teach yourself to be uncontainable. If you use what you learned to prevent you from growing through the same thing you didn't enjoy, and you learn with everything you do every day, it allows you to get to an enlightened state. Over the decades, many have tried to break the ice by asking about my accent. I've laughed it off. In all honesty, it's a speech impediment from when I was 10 and I went flying. My heartbeat stopped for way more than 5 minutes. I was technically dead. I've never fully recovered. However, life, struggles, injuries, hard times, they built my today. I've recently realized heaven might be not a physical place. It perhaps is a state of being, spirit, soul, and mind. I'm hopeful that my long journey is able to help some who listen to have an easier, shorter path to attaining their goals.